Hello and welcome to my channel. I created this channel as an outlet to share and develop stories. I hate the outside. I hate the cold in the winter. I hate the hot in the summer. I especially hate allergy season, with ragweed being the absolute worst. This all changed a little bit in 2012. My barely verbal autistic son loves the outside. And even me, not loving the outside, I'm still that first day of spring when it's like, it's nice and warm and the sun's out, that even captivates me. So 2012, that day was here. I brought Philip out and he was swinging. He loves to swing. I also had like this little plastic house that he would go in there and just play for hours. I don't know quite what he would do. But I do know he would be out there enough that eventually I ran an electric line out there so we could charge his iPad. So anyway, I had him out there. After an hour or two, I was ready to go in. And, Philip, although he doesn't have a lot of words, one phrase he knows real well is stay here. So he really wanted to stay. I was like, that's fine. Because it all worked really well. Where his playset was and his little house was in full view from the kitchen with this big, pane glass window. So I could sit inside in the kitchen, do whatever I needed to do, and I could watch him. We encouraged him to go outside as much as possible because Philip was extremely destructive, and well, plants grow back and furniture doesn't, walls don't. So we encouraged him to go out as much as possible. And I'd love to say he never got in any trouble outside, but one day the lawn guy came, and he's a great guy, cheap, reliable, efficient. Came by and he's like, Mr. Lowry, I hate to ask you this, but is there any way that you can have your son stop digging big holes throughout the yard? Because my tractors keep hitting him. And I said to him, I'm not sure there is a way I can get him to stop doing that. But anyway, so Philip was outside, and it all worked well because I could be inside watching him. I had to watch him pretty closely though, because although he didn't do it very often, once every couple weeks, Philip would just be like, the heck with this, I wonder what's way out there, and he would just walk off. Now, we were really blessed because we had a farm. So we had the house, right outside the house was lawn, outside of that was woods, outside of that was the actual farm. So, one field was hay, although I swear that the farmer actually grew ragweed there instead, and the other was horses. And then beyond that was a row of houses, and then the road. So Philip really had to go a long way, had to be gone for a long time before he would get in any real serious trouble. So anyway, it was easy to keep an eye on him. But then he discovered this new area, which is, we also had a pool, and right beyond the pool there was a row of forsythia. And beyond the row of forsythia there was a wall. And he figured out that he could go behind the forsythia, between the forsythia and the wall, and he would play back there. I have no idea what he would do back there. And it was far enough back that, there could have been a city back there. I don't know what was going on, but he loved that place. He would stay there literally 12 hours a day, every day, playing. And it was nice because, first of all, this forsythia was indestructible. It was the most aggressively healthy thing I've ever seen. We could barely contain it, let alone kill it. So whatever Philip was doing, the forsythia was safe. And because the fence was there, we knew that it was unlikely he would be able to get through and wander off. But even so, you couldn't just leave him out there. You had to pay attention to him. So Philip would often verbalize. In fact, if you're ever in a room, you can't go a couple minutes without Philip randomly saying something from a show, usually a Disney show. So he'll just be like, Genie, I set you free, or just go Pinocchio. So anyway, there's always this sound, and in fact, the scariest thing is when you realize that you haven't heard any sounds for a while. So because of this, I had to move outside onto the porch. and so I could listen to him. And I kept trying to bring him in. He loved that area. You know, stay here. So over time, I ended up, I improved the Wi-Fi on the porch. I got the electric out there. I got a new laptop. So I really had like everything as good as I could out there. In fact, my biggest problem out there was there's so much light. Like even with sitting under an umbrella with the canopy of trees above me, the sun was so bright that you could barely see a laptop. So I ended up having to get a box, a cardboard box, and lining it with black and putting the laptop in there just so I could barely see what was going on. But I made it work, and he was so happy back there that it was worthwhile. So anyway, the summer went on. I remember just grueling week. It was so hot. It was like being in the sauna all the time. Luckily, we had the pool there, and I could go in the pool every once in a while, but I just remember being as hot as I've ever been in my life. So I tried to like go inside and listen to him from inside, but it just wasn't working. I had to be outside. And then came ragweed season, and boy, my eyes were itchy, and it was awful. But still, I found myself actually really enjoying being out there. Like having been out there all these days, and I really found myself enjoying it. So I was actually a little disappointed when winter came, and even Philip doesn't stay outside very long in the winter. So I was really looking forward to the next spring. And the first great spring day came, and I'm like, okay, here we go. I can't wait, to go out there for the season. And I said, Philip, come on, let's go outside. And Philip just looks at me and goes, stay here. And I could not get him to go. And I found myself really missing being outside all that time. So I decided, okay, well, my daughter's here and she can watch Philip for a while, so I'm going to go outside and I'll just enjoy sitting outside for a while. What I quickly found was I hated it every bit as much as I had before. I mean, it was hot or it was cold, and my eyes were itchy and it was just, nothing like the previous year. And so I ended up coming back in and watching Philip inside. And then I realized that it was all about the joy that I got watching Philip having fun, that Philip really wanted to do this. And so I started to enjoy it, not because I enjoyed it for what it was, but because my son enjoyed it so much. And then the moral of the story is that if you're doing something for somebody you love, even if it's not something that you would love otherwise, you can really enjoy it. If you like my stories, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for listening.